Right now, literally at this moment, there are creatures living at depths where the pressure is 1000 times heavier than what's crushing you at sea level. They're not on some alien moon, they're in the water below your continent. We've sent more people to space than we've sent to the deepest ocean, and we have no idea what most of them are doing down there. Right now, literally at this moment, there are creatures living at depths where the pressure is 1000 times heavier than what's crushing you at sea level. They're not on some alien moon, they're in the water below your continent. We've sent more people to space than we've sent to the deepest ocean, and we have no idea what most of them are doing down there. Let's put the ocean scale in perspective. Earth's surface is 70% water. That sounds huge, right? But here's where it gets weird. We've mapped 100% of the moon's surface in detail. We know what rocks look like 380,000 kilometers away, yet we've only thoroughly explored about 5% of our own ocean floor. The remaining 95%, that's an area the size of 200 million football fields, completely unmapped, completely unknown. But it's not just about the size, it's about the depth. The average ocean depth is 7 kilometers. That's like stacking 37 Empire State Buildings on top of each other and drowning them. The deepest point, the Mariana Trench, plunges to 11 kilometers down. If you dropped Mount Everest into it, the peak would still be underwater by over 2 kilometers. At that depth, you're experiencing pressure equivalent to having 50 jumbo jets stacked on your head. Now here's what breaks most people's brains. Life thrives down there, not just survives, thrives. We're talking about creatures that literally cannot exist at the surface because our atmospheric pressure would kill them instantly. The Hadal Zone, depths below 6 kilometers, was considered impossible for complex life just 50 years ago. Then we found entire ecosystems, worms the size of baseball bats, fish with teeth like a nightmare, bacteria that don't need sunlight, oxygen, or anything we thought was necessary for life. The bioluminescence in the deep ocean is the real mind-blower though. About 90% of deep-sea creatures produce their own light. 90%. Imagine if 90% of animals on land had built-in flashlights. Every animal, every insect, every bird, that's the ocean. But why? Scientists think it's for communication, hunting, or mate attraction. But here's the twist, we're not entirely sure. We've described maybe 200,000 species living in the ocean. The actual number, estimates suggest there are between 200 million and 2 billion species we haven't found yet. You could discover a new species of fish deeper than the last one went in 500 expeditions. Let's talk about the actual darkness for a second. Sunlight penetrates the ocean to about 200 meters depth. That's roughly the height of a 60-story building. Below that, it's not just dark, it's a different kind of darkness. It's the kind of darkness where your eyes literally cannot process anything. The pressure is so intense that water molecules get crushed differently. The chemistry changes. In fact, at extreme depths, water itself behaves differently. It becomes denser, its boiling point changes, and organisms develop completely alien biology to survive it. There's a specific layer called the midnight zone that starts at 1000 meters. Below this, there's zero sunlight. Zero. You could float a full-size city down there and it would disappear into absolute black. This zone covers an area larger than all the land on Earth combined, and we've explored less of it than we have of Mars. Mars, a planet 225 million kilometers away that we view through telescopes. We know more about where Curiosity rover rolled than we know about what's happening 1 kilometer beneath your nearest beach. But here's where it gets genuinely unsettling. Temperature and chemistry are wild down there. Thermal vents pump water heated to 400 degrees Celsius directly into the ocean, creating superheated plumes that somehow support entire ecosystems. Creatures live around these vents that shouldn't be able to exist, life that doesn't derive energy from the sun at all, but from chemicals. Chemosynthesis, it's not photosynthesis. It's a completely different source code for life itself. Then there's the giant squid situation. For centuries, they were considered mythology, sea monsters. Then we found them, not just one, multiple, and recently we found the colossal squid, a version that's bigger with hooks instead of suction cups, hooks on its arms. We've only ever seen a handful of specimens because these things live so deep and so far from human contact that they might as well be aliens. Scientists have less footage of living giant squids than they have of great white sharks, killer whales, and blue whales combined. These things are real. They are down there, right now, hunting in complete darkness. The pressure at those depths does something to creatures we are still struggling to understand. Fish that would be crushed like soda cans at the surface have literally evolved bones and body cavities that function under crushing pressure. If you brought a deep-sea fish to the surface without slowly decompressing it, it would explode. The pressure that's keeping it together would suddenly release, and boom, the organism that evolved for one extreme wouldn't survive another extreme. It's not just adaptation, it's alien-level specialization. Here's the real reason we know more about space than the ocean: money, equipment, and physics. A space mission to Mars costs billions but requires only rockets and patience. The ocean's deep zones require submarines that can withstand crushing pressure, extreme heat, and corrosive chemicals. They are slower, more expensive per meter explored, and more dangerous. 3 people have reached the Mariana Trench's bottom in a crewed vessel. 12 people have walked on the moon. That ratio tells you everything about how hostile the deep ocean actually is. The perspective shift here is crucial. We treat the ocean like we understand it, we fish it, we pollute it, we drill it, but we're operating in a place we've barely seen. It's like an ancient civilization deciding to terraform an entire planet based on one satellite photo. The ocean is a world unto itself, with its own weather, ecosystems, physics, and creatures that follow rules we don't understand. And we are changing it without fully knowing what we are changing. We're dumping plastic into zones we haven't even seen. We're creating dead zones through pollution in areas we barely mapped. We are fishing species to extinction in the darkness where new specimens are still being discovered. The ocean isn't just unexplored, it's actively being altered by a species that doesn't understand what they are altering. So what's the real takeaway? The ocean is way darker, way stranger, and way more unknown than any space documentary will tell you. Space is huge and far away, which makes it feel important. But the ocean is here, below us, full of discoveries, full of life forms that operate on completely different rules, and we've only just barely cracked open the door.